Welcome back. Continuing the story of who may be tapped to fill the void on the Wisconsin Elections Commission, Republican State Senator Kathy Bernier, former longtime clerk for Chippewa County, has asked Assembly Speaker Robin Vos for the role. He is responsible for appointing a replacement. She joins me now. Good morning.
Good morning.
So, and we just were talking about this, but did you speak with Robin Vos directly? Have you heard from him after your request?
No, I just left him a voicemail, and of course, I've been talking to others. And in pondering my request, I've rethought that. I think it would be best for someone to have a little or no opinion, at least as far as the constituents of Republican constituents in the state, that they not have a position at all on the 2020 election. And that is probably, in my mind, a better way forward. So I just sent him a text in regard to that.
Were you surprised by this sudden departure on the WEC board?
No. I've been in contact with Marge Bosselman and Dean Knutson several times since the 2020 election. And, of course, my part involved in all of that to shed reality and light onto the process. So I've spoken. I was a county clerk when Marge Bosselman was a county clerk, and Julie Glancy. I've not spoken to her, but I've been in contact with them, and it has been a very difficult couple of years.
What do you think the future for the WEC is, especially after this, this major departure? I mean, do you think that this sets up the WEC to become more partisan now?
Well, I have concerns. So I don't believe that Bob Spindell is going to, and it's pretty apparent that he is not going to get enough votes to be the chair. The leadership who drafted the bill, I didn't realize didn't provide for the clerks to chair the committee. That leaves a brand new member who may not get the votes either, because the Democrats aren't really sure about who that individual is and what their position is. So this has hamstrung the Republicans in regard to chairing that committee. Now, I put out a bill that requires a seventh member, a nonpartisan retired judge, to chair the committee and to be that kind of tiebreaker, because there's been far too many 3-3 votes that fail on the election commission. So I'm hoping that my colleagues in the next session realize that there needs to be some change on that commission. I think the motivation was to have, folks at the table from both sides, but that has really caused some issues, especially on the election commission. Hasn't been a problem on the ethics commission, I would point out.
You just mentioned this, but I want to get into this a little more. So it sounds like you're kind of dialing back your request to Vos in terms of, the background you bring and whether you want to serve on, on the WEC to replace Knutson. Is this partially because you don't have perhaps the legal background that Vos has said he's looking for?
No, I would argue I have all the legal background needed. I have administered elections from the bottom and created the laws from the top. Lawyers don't know all of the laws. They specialize, and it would be, it'd be a bit of a challenge to find a lawyer who knows all of the election laws as well as I do, to be perfectly honest. So I would have all the confidence in the world that I would know and understand election law. That isn't the reason. The reason is there are a segment of Republicans, a small segment, that would be very upset by my appointment, the ones that email me frequently asking me to step down, because I have a lot of confidence in the electoral process, that I believe there was voter fraud, but I think most of that voter fraud has been accounted for, and that Donald Trump lost the election, and they don't want to hear that.
That makes sense, and it kind of leads to my last question. Obviously, we know where your past statements have been. You've been very clear about where you stand on the ongoing assembly investigation into the 2020 election, also just in general, these baseless claims about widespread fraud. You just mentioned this could, make some Republicans mad. Do you think that that might be influencing Vos in terms of whether or not he would seriously consider you for this role?
Oh, absolutely. Um, you know, Politics is politics. You try to make, I, for one, think politics has to be considered, but I also believe that you need to do the right thing because it's the right thing to do. Has been my motto since I ran in the assembly. And I think that, he can do both, provide a really good appointment, and recognize the importance of the politics behind it.
Anything you'd like to add to this?
No, I am glad I'm not Robin Voss right now. He's had a very tough session, so I wish him all the best.
Thank you so much for taking a few minutes of your time this morning.
My pleasure.
We will be right back.